It's the same old tune, fiddle and guitar. Where do we take it from here?
It's just a different kind of sound. It's not a lush, overproduced kind of sound. It's one of those driving, get you by the throat, floor stomping kind of music, that four on the floor.
Somebody told me when I came to Nashville, son, you finally got it made. Old Hank made it here. We're all sure that you will, but I don't think Hank done it this way. Did old Hank really do it this way?
The thing about being in his band was he had so much magnetism and everything. When he come on stage, everything just locked in, and he just followed the man.
But Waylon comes out, man, he's got those leather things on his wrist. He had his hair slicked back, man. He looked like $1 million, you know, the coolest cat I'd ever seen.
He just was the coolest, you know, and he was the original outlaw, and he had such a cool factor that just hasn't been, nobody's been able to duplicate that.
The honky-tonks in Texas were my natural second home.
I first became aware of him, I guess, still during my disc jockey days, and he was doing some disc jockey work out in West Texas.
He was from Littlefield, Texas, and I was working as a DJ in Lubbock at KDAV. And he moved into Lubbock, became active with Buddy Holly, and toured with Buddy Holly quite some time.
He had a definite style of his own. He had a great singing voice. Of course, he had been with Buddy Holly. Luckily missed the fatal plane trip.
It was amazing to see things happen, and then all of a sudden a song would come out of it. Like Bob Wills is still the king. And I guess him and Willie had a little disagreement. He wrote that one on the way to Texas.
He just, you know, because of Billy Joe Shaver and because of so many other people's songs, Willie's songs that he did, he just didn't get the credit enough about what a good songwriter he was.
If you want to get to heaven, got a D.I.E. You gotta put on your coat and T.I.E. You want to get the rabbit out the L.O.G. You gotta make a commotion like a D.O.G. No, like a D.O.G. Understand that? Like a D.O.G.
I don't know, just his style, you know, I mean, it was country, because as Waylon always said, he couldn't go pop with a mouthful of firecrackers. However, I mean, it rocked, so to speak.
Aside from the fact that he was a great writer, he recognized other great writers and was not afraid of credit either way. If I wrote it, great. If he wrote it, great. And to me, that's always the mark of somebody that stands the test of time, is they want great.
I gave him a copy of my first album, Ain't Living Long Like This. And I don't know, a couple of weeks later he calls me up and says, "Hey, Hoss, what are you gonna do with that song, Ain't Living Long Like This?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna make a #1 hit out of it." And I said, "Go." And he did.
Waylon was anti-Nashville music industry establishment. I mean, he played the game just like Willie played the game. Well, Waylon never left. Waylon was just here and I think woke up one day and said, "I've had enough." And when he said that, he acted on it, and then his career exploded.
A long time forgotten, our dreams had just fell by.
That was a seminal moment when this music was coming into focus. It was poetry, it was dangerous, it was, they called it the outlaw, you know, it became the outlaw thing, but it was sexy and it was dangerous and smart and really out there on the edge, and I was drawn to it. Yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to be one of those guys.
RCA then realized what a cool marketing term that could be and made this album called Wanted, The Outlaws, featuring Waylon and Jesse Coulter and Willie and Tom Paul Glaser. And it became country's first platinum album.
And it was more than just the music. I mean, it became part of the culture. You go to New York City and see people walking down the street with cowboy boots and Stetson hats on because of the outgrowth of the outlaw movement.
You know, none of those guys were real outlaws, you know, if you don't count smoking dope. But I mean, they weren't robbing gas stations or anything, is what.
I saw Waylon's Cadillac. I went over and I couldn't see in because it was a little smoky in there. And I knocked on the window and the window rolled down and smoke comes billowing out and there was Waylon and Willie.
Willie was working in Fort Worth at Panther Hall, and Waylon came by the room after they'd been up all night playing poker. And Waylon said, "Hey, I've got a song that I want you to help me write. I've almost got it. I'm writing it about Jesse." And he said, "We should, you know, write this with our wives in mind." And I said, "Wait a minute, before you write this, you're not gonna, either one of you, remember it tomorrow. So let me write the lyrics down." And it turned out to be Good-Hearted Woman.
In spite of my wicked ways that she don't understand. Through teardrops and laughter that pass through this world hand in hand. A good-hearted woman, loving a good time. Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
We sold albums. Long before he had real hits, we were selling albums. And at that point, he recognized how important that was, and then he built a body of work. And other people were just, it's a jukebox. His was a show. You went on there, and the band he had was just...
He called me because I'm from Muscle Shoals. He wanted something that wasn't country. He wanted an aggressive bass player. So anyhow, I go over, which and I did a remake on Amanda, and I did Dukes of Hazzard. And Waylon asked me to go on the road for 14 days, and it lasted 23 years.
I played with him about 30 years, all total. I had to go back to the house and rest a couple of times. He wore me out.
Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas, Waylon and Willie and the boy. This successful life we're living's got us feeling like the Hatfields and McCoy. Between Hank Williams Payne songs, Newberry Strain songs.
And it's fun now playing with Shooter. I see some of the similarities and everything like that. I get a chill every now and then, you know, just being there and seeing where he's going and the influence he had, that Waylon had on him.
Waylon and Willie and Chris and all those folks have a special way of saying things. You know, and Roger. I mean, it's all, I'd skirt around the issue trying to say something, and Waylon would say it the way it should be said. You know?
One of the most dynamic talents country music will ever have, Waylon Jennings.
Time we got down to some basics in love.